Hello and welcome to Talk of the Game. It's match preview of Arsenal against West Ham United. Gonzo, would you like to kick us off with your thoughts on the Gunners, please?
Yeah, another season where they're going to be chasing for the title. I'm sure that Arsenal probably thought that this was going to be their season if Manchester City dropped off. I don't think anyone really thought that Klopp was going to leave Liverpool. I know they had a draw against Aston Villa, but I don't think anyone thought that Klopp was going to leave Liverpool and maybe even improve a little bit. You might say that. I don't think anyone was expecting them to run away at the top of the Premier League all season long. So you'd be forgiven for thinking, I think if you're an Arsenal fan, this will be our season. If Man City are off it, this will be our season. They need to win this one. They need to win this league because I think stuff like that can sort of snowball. It's very easy for it to become cyclical. It's very easy for you to get into the cycle of not winning. They say winning becomes a habit. I think I've seen enough teams over the years to say that maybe missing out becomes a habit as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've been disappointed with them, to be honest with you, for the reasons you said, Richard. They've been sort of waiting for an opportunity to win the title. They've been given an opportunity this season, and they've not capitalised on it. And now they are missing a lot of players. And I know they've got an injury crisis, but a lot of teams do. You can't say that Arsenal have had one and ignore the fact that, Liverpool went without Alisson for a prolonged period of time during the season earlier on as well. But I think it's that lack of squad depth, I think, that's really cost them. That it's almost like two players injured and the threat comes down drastically. Whereas perhaps with Liverpool, maybe not Salah, but if Diaz was injured, well, Gakpo goes in and they still look quite good. Alexander-Arnold's out. Connor Bradley goes in, they still look quite good. And I think the squad depth at Arsenal feels lacking, really lacking. I think one transfer, which I'll be honest, I thought was a decent transfer at the time, but it's gone completely wrong. And that's Raheem Sterling. When he went there, I thought, oh, that's maybe the guy that they need because, again, last season as well, at times their attack was a little bit stale and they needed something different. And I think I naively assumed he'd maybe get the Man City Raheem Sterling because of Arteta's links with when he was at City, he had Sterling there as well. And that Chelsea was just like because of Chelsea, Sterling was bad to some extent. He'd go to Arsenal, he'd come to life again, and he could contribute goals and assists and give them an edge that they were missing in attack. He looks done when you watch Arsenal play. Well, you watch Sterling play, he looks absolutely done as a footballer. And I think that was an important transfer for them. They had to get it right.
Yeah.
And they've got it wrong. Do you see them as being in a title race today? They're currently 8 points behind Liverpool. However, they do have a game in hand and they do still play Liverpool later on in the season.
They are massively in the title race. 100% they're in the title race. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be nervous about them. There's no doubt about it. I think it'd be very, very hard for Liverpool to be that cocky about it because I don't know if I've never been in that position, but I think if you were, I think you'd probably get very used to a points gap, and I think the moment you started to see that become eroded. I think people remember. There'll be certain people who remember the Newcastle under Kevin Keegan, which I think they were 12 points clear. And it was almost like a car crash in slow motion. You saw it become 9 points. You saw it become 8. It became 6. And the more it happens, you just knew what was going to happen. And Kevin Keegan, the manager at the time, was sort of losing his mind in interviews as well. And it was quite clear it could happen. I think there's scoreboard pressure in golf. They call it scoreboard pressure. I think you can put sort of leaderboard pressure. Sorry, I think you can put that leaderboard pressure in football as well. So Arsenal is still a big part of it. Make no mistake about it. Arsenal can still have a say in this. And Liverpool won't. I think that's the key thing. Liverpool won't think Arsenal are out the title race.
Yeah, you use Keegan, I'll use Fergie. He always said it was easier to do the chasing than it was to be chased. And I think you could flip that round to the relegation battle as well. Perhaps not this season, but usually seasons going by in the Premier League, there's a team that's maybe Christmas time, the 13th or 14th in the league. They look well out of a relegation battle. There were 5-8 games to go. they're sitting 16th, 17th, and there's only a few points between them. And you can see the opposite happening, which is they're dropping closer and closer to that bottom three. And every weekend goes by, someone beneath them gets a win and they get a draw or a defeat and they go a little bit closer. So there's always that team, or it used to be anyway, but there was always a team that used to sink after Christmas. And I think it's the same sort of mentality in that regards. Like you said, you see the points, the buffer zone just going. In regards to Arsenal today, are they in a title race? I think they should be. Mathematically, they are for the reasons I've given. We'll discuss Liverpool then, the Arsenal side of it. Liverpool don't look great at the minute. They look a little bit underwhelming, underperforming. Drawing against Everton, that was a big 2 points to drop the last minute against Everton. They scraped by against Bournemouth before that. They didn't look great against Wolves. Then they went and drew against Aston Villa. They're dropping points at the minute. They're basically saying, come on then, if anyone wants to catch us, now's the time to do it. We're not in form at the minute. And they play Manchester City on Sunday, who absolutely bottled it in Madrid. That was one of the worst Man City performances I've seen under Pep Guardiola. But I think it's fair to assume that he's going to try and get his players fired up for Sunday and make that game against Liverpool a bloody difficult one. So there's an opportunity there for Arsenal. But I just don't feel like they're firing themselves. I'm watching Arsenal recently, and they just, I thought Leicester were giving them a really good game up until Mourinho came on and got the 2 goals. And I just don't feel, and it goes back to that squad depth. Havertz is out, Jesus is out, Saka's been out, Martinelli's out. They've still got their first choice defence though, and they've got their first choice midfield. And I think what we will see from now until maybe the end of the season is one of Arsenal's strengths compared to every other team in the Premier League is their defensive side. Arteta knows how to set up a defence. They know how to get clean sheets. They know how to win 1-0. And I think you might start seeing that creeping into the Arsenal performances where they go a goal up. They've got, whether it's Timber or White on one side, they might have Lewis Skelly, they might have Calafiori and other. Maybe they'll have Timber at left back now with Ben White right back. They'll have their centre backs. They'll have Declan Rice and Thomas Partey and Odegaard sat in front of them, blocking it out, saying you're going to have to go wide, you're going to have to get crosses in, and when you do, we're going to deal with them easily. And I think you're going to start to see a few more clean sheets for Arsenal between now and the end of the season. And I don't blame them. One thing they used to be good at is they, like I said, they could do that, but also we've seen them away to Man City, remember, where they went down to 10 men and they just played sort of a formation of 5-4-0 and really stifled and frustrated City. And I think you might see them doing that more often from now until the end of the season just to get that 3 points. In terms of Mikel Arteta then, Gonzo, if he fails to win the Premier League and they go another season trophyless, is there or should there be pressure on him?
I guess so. I mean, I never look at him like that. They're good enough to win a title at some point. And it is Arsenal. Let's get that right. Arsenal are such a big club that you would expect them, as I said about cyclical earlier, you would expect them to win a title every now and again. But they're not so big that Arsenal are going to go and win 3 in a row or something like that, you know. I think he's doing a good job. I don't like him. I don't like Arsenal particularly, but I think he's doing a good job there. You just don't know what's going to happen. And we're, you know, look, Wenger done everything at that club. Wenger, I remember, you know, George, obviously George Graham there did wonderful things really. But Wenger seems to be, I don't know about Herbert Chapman, was it? I don't know. I'm not that, I might look it, but I'm not that old. But Wenger might have been their best manager, right? And eventually, you know, they grew tired of him. And I can understand that. It's not for me to say what other fans should be doing and whether they want a manager out or whatever. I think my point is if the fans can decide they don't want Wenger anymore, they can certainly decide they don't want Mikel Arteta anymore. But it is hard. I think it's just hard to win the Premier League. I think that's the other thing. There's only one trophy there. Do you know what I mean? And I think he has really improved them. I think what he did with Aubameyang and Ozil, and he put his stamp on it and he put his authority on it. I think he brings the youngsters through. I think he recruits well. That you still would think that they're missing a striker, but that's going to be sorted in the summer. They're decent. They're decent. I think that there's a difference between what do you want to be? Do you want to get back up there and be one of the top guys? Because they'd stop doing that. they were falling out the top 4 and stuff like that? Or do you want to get at manager who guarantees you that you definitely win the title? I don't think there is one. So I wouldn't get rid of him. But who am I to say? I think they should stick with him.
I know you say there's one trophy, but I think there's 4. I think he's got 4 opportunities to win a trophy, and getting hiding across 2 legs.
Count, Gio, for Arsenal fans.
Well, but they do though. Like I think when you've gone that long without silverware, or when you're not winning, I think Man City are the only club I feel as a fan base I would understand if they win the League Cup and go, it's not enough. I would say I get that because you're used to the title. You've had the Champions League. It used to be Pep's sort of safety net, really. He'd win that. And then be like, well, if I don't win anything else, at least I've won something. And I think that is almost like what Arsenal need, whether it's the League Cup, whether it's the FA Cup, anything. Just get any sort of silverware and start winning trophies to back up the spend that you've done, because they've spent an obscene amount of money under Arteta, and they are a good team. At the minute they're second in the league, right? They're having a decent season, but is decent good enough? That's the question. I think there should be an expectancy that they are closer to Liverpool at this point in the season, or taking advantage of this. If you call it a slump by Liverpool, it feels a bit harsh considering they've drawn a couple of games, but they've stopped winning games every single week. You've got to be there to capitalise on it. In the way of it, they're not there at Arsenal. They're too far behind. They're 8 points the game in hand, but I have confidence that they'd win that game in hand and decrease that gap. And I think there's got to be pressure on to some extent, because you've got to deliver. Success is trophies. That's what success is at a club like that. Success is different depending on which club you are. A success for Ipswich Town this season isn't trophies. It's staying in the Premier League. It's finishing 17. That's success. But for Arsenal, it has to be measured with silverware. I don't think finishing 4th is considered a success anymore. That's the bare minimum, I think, required at Arsenal, at Man City, at Liverpool. That is the bare minimum. And I guess that's a reflection of how he's improved that club, that I now view them as someone that should be winning trophies. But I'm sort of still waiting for him to do it. I know he's won the FA Cup, but he wasn't even there for the entire tenure of that FA Cup tournament. So I'm still waiting, going, well, come on then, let's see something for the money that you've spent. Not getting a striker in January was a big failure. That was a huge failure. And they were linked to quite a few of them. Yeah. And some of them you felt were a bit too ambitious, like Isak. Was he going to join Arsenal? You might get him in the summer, but the one to Ollie Watkins, had he done that earlier in January, I think that might have been a good move. But because Duran was then off to Saudi, you were never going to get Ollie Watkins as well. I think it would have been a good signing. The wrong timing, really. Anyway, so for me, Arteta should be under a bit of pressure to deliver silverware, because they're a good club and they spent a lot of money and they've got a bloody good team in there. Speaking of some of their players, is there any you admire?
Yeah, I've been interested to watch Skelly play. Good player. I'll get his name wrong. The right winger that plays in place of Saka. And when he's really good, isn't he? So interested to see the young players come through, and he's got that. Arteta does that as well, and obviously Declan's there, who's just a tremendous footballer. And I think he's injured. I think Odegaard's injured, but the player you would he's the player you pay money to watch, isn't he? That one. Saka's injured. They got. This is why they ultimately they won't win the title, because they've got these so many good players out. But they've got some amazing footballers. And Jesus, I love Jesus. I think he's brilliant. Again, he's injured as well, so it's tough. It's tough for him. But they got some great youngsters coming through.
Yeah, Timber's still a player I really like. I remember mentioning him in the preview when we played at London Stadium, but I still think he's a really good player. It'll be interesting to see what Arteta does now. Ben White has returned, because he was a big player for Arsenal as well. And I think there was almost a little bit of a meme factor about Ben White, because he's tanned and doesn't look like a footballer, does he? He looks like a model more than a footballer. And he doesn't.
A lot of people make comparisons with Ben White and myself, Gio.
And he doesn't like football. He doesn't, you know, he had that fallout with England. So I think it's it's not helped him out in the neutrals' perspective. But I think he's a fantastic player, and I think he's a really important player, and has been to Arsenal over the years. Often he would pop up with an assist or just going down that right-hand side on the overlap. His understanding with Saka, I thought, was fantastic. So he's been a big miss, actually. And I think Timber's done well, but this is why I'm intrigued to see what Arteta are doing. I think, you know, does he then put Timber onto the left and bring Ben White in on the right? But then what do you do with Lewis Skelly? Do you move him into midfield? And if so, who do you bring out? Because I think, I agree with you, I think Lewis Skelly's been superb. And you hear a lot of, as you know, West Ham fan, you don't pay, well, I certainly don't pay too much attention to the academies of other clubs. So when you hear of players that play for the academies of other clubs, you get a feeling they're going to be a little bit special, or they're going to make it the first team. Because you could only name one or two for every team around the Premier League. So when he's come in, he does look fantastic. And I quite like his arrogance. He's a very confident player. I quite like it. And same with Ranieri as well. He looks superb. And he's the one I'm probably most worried about on Saturday afternoon. Anyways, shall we stop talking about Arsenal and start talking about West Ham?
Yes, please.
Before we do that, just want to point in the direction of this video sponsors, which is Match Bingo. Now they've got another enhanced pot for this fixture. If you were to play Match Bingo for any other game on Saturday in the Premier League, the pot isn't as big as the £325 up for grabs from all the action at the Emirates. Match Bingo is combining bingo with the match. You get 15 events that you need to occur. It could be some simple things like Arsenal to get a throw in, West Ham to get a goal kick. The first person to get the first line will win money. First person to get 2 lines will win money. And the first person to get full house will win big money. Plus, there's the bonus pot for anybody else who gets full house but was not first. And it's only £2 to play. Plus, they've got 2 promotions on for you this weekend. Promotion number 1, if you're a new user, get it downloaded by using the link in the description. Important that you use that link for us, so they know you've come from Hamish Chat. But please do use that link. You download it, get signed up, and if you deposit £10, they'll give you £10 credit for free. So a lot more bang for your buck. And promotion number 2 is if you were to buy 4 cards for this fixture, you will get your 5th card free. So you get 5 cards for £8, and hopefully you can win a 3-figure sum of money and join the numerous winners we've had from our Hamish Chat subscribers so far. It's a little bit of fun, but it's a gambling app, so you need to be 18 and over to download it. And best of luck. Hopefully one of you lot watching will win the full house on Saturday. Right. Are you hungry for some team news, Gonzo?
Starving.
Well, it's not good. I'm afraid I'm going to be serving up something that you don't like.
Not avocado. It's nasty.
Biscoff on baked potato, something like that.
With an avocado garnish sounds nasty.
Yeah, there you go. The team news for West Ham is no Lucas Paqueta. He was challenged by Wan-Bissaka in training, rolled his ankle, and is out for 3 to 4 weeks. We've got no Vladimir Soufal this weekend either, and we've got no Somerville. He's still out for another couple of weeks with his hamstring injury. And of course, we've got no Mikel Antonio because he crashed his car, and we've got no Niklas Füllkrug. Now, there is positive news with Füllkrug, which is he's expected to be back sooner. He's finished his Dubai rehab and he's returned to the UK. I think I'll be extending my injury. I'm injured. Off to Dubai, you go to get fixed. Oh, okay. No, I think we should question Paqueta's injury, actually. Is he really injured, or does he just want to go to Dubai for a little bit? So if you get injured at West Ham, they send you to Dubai at the moment. But that's the team news. Everybody else is available. So still a lot of players to choose from. The problem is we're just missing Lucas Paqueta. Gonzo, would you like to give me the goalkeepers you'd like to see starting between the sticks at the Emirates plus your defence?
Yeah, we'll go with Areola, but I want to go back to the back 3. I'm not the only one, so will Graham Potter. I do feel that he would have... he had a little experiment with a number of things, one of them being the formation against Brentford. I think he's probably thought, nah, I'm all right now. I'm going to play Todibo. I watched West Ham kicking the ball around the London Stadium on YouTube, and I've decided he looks all right to me. So I'm putting him in. I'm going to put Kilman into the middle of a back 3 rather than the left-sided centre-back of a 2. And I think I'm going to bring Cresswell in to play next to him. I think that's That's the thing to do, and I know it's not ideal, particularly with the threat that they may have over that side. But you just don't you don't know what's going to happen. They're going to have to move some players around. I know the lad came on and scored 2 goals against Leicester, but even when he was asked, Marino, was his name Marino? Yeah. So, he was asked, "Do you think the best striker?" He went, "No, against West Ham." No, I don't think he's going to do it. So, which I thought was really quite candid of him. It might, of course, be just smoke and mirrors. You don't know, so you don't know who's going to be moved around in what position. But look, needs must be. We don't have 3 strong centre backs there. You probably do want a left footer on that side, so it's going to be Cresswell. He's not let anyone down. I know there's a different level of opposition, but yeah, I'll go with Cresswell there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, the back 3, actually. I too want to see a back 3, and I think Wan-Bissaka's not in contention for me because I want to see him as a wing back. So that you're then looking, right, who's available? Who can we pick from? And Kilman and Todibo are the ones that go straight in, and then that leaves you with Casey, Cresswell, and Mavropanos, and it's a case of, well, which one out of those 3 do you wish to play? And if you select Mavropanos or Casey, you're moving Kilman over one to that left centre-back role as well. I think he's looked good in the middle of a back 3. We've seen him in a back 4 against Brentford. I thought he was absolutely horrendous. I thought he was really bad in that match. So I'd like to see him remain there. So that by default, I've now got to bring in Aaron Cresswell. Or I guess, listen, you could make the case that I put Mavropanos or Casey there. I've got no evidence to suggest either of them can play that role. So I'm going to go with Cresswell. It makes me a bit nervous because I think he's done well under Potter so far, and I think he did well under Lopetegui too. I think Cresswell's actually had a good season. Now, he's not hammered you contention or anything like that, but I think he's had a 6 out of 10 season. He's been pretty reliable. But I do look at Nwaneri and think there's a guy that could possibly cause Aaron Cresswell a little bit of bother on Saturday. It's the first opponent I'm looking at us coming up against, and I'm a bit nervous. Yeah. But Cresswell's the most experienced player in our squad, arguably. So I'm sort of thinking, well, work it out. You're a good player. Yeah. You're not a bad player. You're a good player. You're quite an intelligent player as well. You read the game really well. That's why we've not been exposed by your lack of pace so far. So do that. Use those elements of your game and work out how to play against him, especially in this day and age with all the analysis that players are given before the game of football. Cresswell will be given this video footage of Nwaneri and all these stats and details about how to play against him and stuff like that. The goalkeeper makes me nervous, actually, Gonzo, because Arsenal are good at set pieces. They score from a cross against Leicester City from open play, and neither of our goalkeepers are great in the air. Fabianski tries to catch it and isn't the best at catching it, and Areola tries to punch it and, well, punches Gabriel in the face. So it's a bit of an iffy one. I'd stick with Areola for this one. But if Fabianski gave me more confidence with his crossing ability, I think I'd maybe opt for him. So anyway, we're matching so far. Let's see if we match with our wing backs and central midfielders. Who you got?
Sorry, wing back. The old wing backs confuses me. Yes, I still think defenders. Wan-Bissaka, and I'll go with Ollie Scholes as the other wing back. Let's do it in that order. And then the central midfield, if you want, we'll go with Edson Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse.
I wondered who you were going to go for. That central midfield, I think, is the problem area. I think he's got big calls to make there this weekend, and I'm unsure there's a winning formula, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of options, but what the right pairing is, I don't know. And if people at home watching this, get your comments in below. Give us your full 11. But when you do put out the team that you want to see, it's the central midfielders are going to be looking at the most just to see what people want. I'm going to go Edson Alvarez with Andy Irving.
Okay.
Am I confident? No. But what I am confident is Irving will give you everything. He'll have his sleeves rolled up. He'll be getting stuck in. He's not going to let you down. I thought he had a good game against Chelsea. When he got tired, he got sloppy and he struggled. And he should have been substituted maybe 5 minutes before he was. And in that 5 minutes period, he was giving the ball away a couple of times as well. And it became a little bit dangerous for West Ham having Irving on the pitch. We're aware of that now. So we now know that come the hour mark, just keep an eye on Andy Irving. And if he's getting tired, you're going to have to look at substituting him. Plenty optioned on the bench for this one. So I'll go with Alvarez and Irving. But people would say, oh, you're wrong. That won't work. I'm not actually going to disagree with you. I'm not confident, but whatever pairing you throw at me, I could probably argue against it rather than for it. Moving up to our two sort of attacking midfielders and our striker, Gonzo. I think there's a chance we've got a match up here. Obviously, going to have Jared Bowen in one of the positions, but which position?
Ultimately, I don't really care. I'm not even sure what my shape is. I'm going to start Evan Ferguson. So
well, he's the striker then, isn't he? You're not going to have him in the number 10 role, are you?
No, of course. But I mean, I don't know if I'm going like I don't know if I'm doing a 3-5-2 or a 3-4. I
think if you do that, I think
can't
if you're
even
going
count to 11 most of the time, so it's hard for me to work out formations.
I think if you're going to do 3-5-2, though, I think so. You'd have Bowen and Ferguson up front. I think the other guy would be better off being a central midfielder and trying to plug the midfield rather than having.
Yeah, that's what I think I might do.
So Solar, Bowen,
yeah, I think so. Not because it's just who is the least worst option. And I think it might be Soler. Ideally, if I had a full squad, I wouldn't play Soler or I wouldn't play Kudus either. And yeah, I think in this one, I do wonder if Kudus might be a little bit more useful coming off the bench in this one. I was going to say he's such a threat. I'm going to change that. He can be such a threat. Yeah. Last season, he's such a... I'll be honest with you saying Kudus is such a threat. This season, I say he can be. If with God's grace, a fair wind, and if the planets align, Kudus could be a threat. But the planets haven't really aligned this season for him, and I thought he struggled to get into games. That being said, we could be discussing a very, very different Kudus had he not have blazed over the bar against Brentford after Evan Ferguson set him off, or set him up, or indeed if Chalobah hadn't have done that block in the game against Chelsea. You could be looking and thinking, well, he's scored two very important games. Actually, both of them would have been equalisers, of course. Yeah. He's rescued West Ham in both games. So yeah, but you've got to make a decision, haven't you? So I'm going to go with Soler, much as it pains me to do it because I'm not impressed with him. But we need somebody in that midfield that can pass the ball forward, and that's why I'm picking Soler.
Definitely won't be James Ward-Prowse. Joke. Not really.
Sorry, hold on.
Ferguson's got to start up front. Bowen's got to be in that number 10 role. I was disappointed we didn't see it last week. And because of the injury to Paqueta, I'm even more disappointed now because I was really looking forward to Bowen, Paqueta and Ferguson. And we've never seen it. And now we're not going to see it for at least another month anyway. So that gives me one player. And I think I'd go for Kudus. I didn't want to see him start last week. He didn't have a great game against Brentford. But with Paqueta out, I think there's two options for me. It's Kudus, or you go wild card and put Guilherme in there and see what he can do. Get a bit of pace, get someone that's direct, give him an opportunity. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to go with Guilherme. Will it work? I don't know. I haven't a Scooby, okay? But I've actually liked what I've seen in brief spells, 5 minutes even there. And I think after his performance against Chelsea, he deserved more of an opportunity than 5 minutes at the end against Brentford. So I'd give him this one, put him alongside Bowen, play him behind Evan Ferguson as well, and see what they can do. And it's not something Arteta will be expecting. And when you do things like this, you might just discover something. We put all these scars in against Aston Villa, and now people want to see him start because of performances, because of merit, because of that YouTube video you watched when Kudus went one-on-one with Scars, and Scars tackled him comfortably and jogged off with the ball at his feet and left Kudus behind him. But you look at Arsenal with Wanyeri getting an opportunity because of injuries. He's had to be patient, but because of his injuries, bang, in he goes. Well, we've got one with Paqueta. Let's get Guilherme in there. Let's have a look at him. And if it's not working, just sub him at half-time, put Kudus on, so just bring him off. Yeah. There you go. You've had your 45 minutes. You've struggled a little bit, understandably. Kudus goes on now. That's what I would like to see, I think. Are you feeling footy?
Yeah, I am. I think he did. I think he did really badly. Potter against Brentford. I think he made quite a big error. I think with a formation. I think with the way that he set the team up to play, with the selection. I think almost everything went wrong. But I do think he's smart. I think Potter's smart. And I think he'll look at that. And I don't think he's that stubborn, by the way. I think he's a pragmatist, but I don't think he's stubborn like other managers we might have had in the past, that they might just stick what they're doing. I think he'll take a look at that and he'll think, right, don't worry about it. Forget that. Do that. Forget that formation. Forget that line up. He'll drop someone from that midfield. 100% it didn't work. I thought whilst you were right, there could have been 5 changes at half-time against Brentford. I do think he substituted the 3 worst players.
Yeah.
Which gives me, I like to see that, because I think it's good if you're watching a game of football and you think he's crap, and he's playing badly and they all need to be hooked, and the manager does exactly what you do. You think, okay, well that's good. It shows that he's able to do it. Certainly, if you said it when we spoke. We did one of our Patreon videos. You said you thought Potter does have a ruthless streak. You said you thought you'd seen enough glimmers gleaned enough information in interviews and stuff like that. He can be a little bit spiky. I agree. I think he presents a good face. I think he speaks well. I think he's polite and all the rest of it. But I agree. I think you're absolutely right. I think he's got an edge to him. And I think that's enough. And at the end of the day, he's going to want self-preservation. He's going to want his team to play well. So someone's getting drops. And I don't think we'll be as bad as we were against Brentford. And I do think Arsenal got lots of injuries. So have we, as you noted earlier on in the video. But there's pressure on Arsenal. There's a lot of pressure on Arsenal. And as bad as it is, there's actually not really any pressure on West Ham, which is why I think you saw interest dip, which you could really read it in a lot of the comments on a lot of the videos, Gio, that there was a lot of melancholy. There was a lot of apathy towards West Ham, because I think the fans are realistic enough to know this is actually going to... I think it was a sobering thing. I think fans are, right, okay, so this season is a write-off. We are going to have to wait. It is going to take a little bit of time to get better. None of this is Potter's fault. If anything, it was that key time when the replacement of David Moyes was key and we got it wrong. And now we're suffering, right? Because of the Lopetegui thing. So I think there's just a general understanding around the club and around the fan base that we're going to have to wait. And we've got a bit impatient and we've been a bit spoilt recently. So I don't feel there's pressure. There's not pressure on West Ham. There's pressure on Arsenal. Because whilst mathematically, this is not their game in hand, right? This is just game week, whatever it is, right? In the players' minds, in the fans' minds, they won't be looking at it like this. They'll be looking at this as the 3 points closer to Liverpool. And I just think there's pressure on
Liverpool play Sunday, so if they beat us, they go 5 points behind Liverpool There
you go. And they'll look at that. 5 points with a game in hand. It won't quite be like that, because it won't be a game in hand. But I just think when you're in that thing, I know it from relegation battles, your mind does mathematical tricks on you and all the rest of it. And I think if they lose, they almost... That game in hand mathematically, it just scraps it. Yeah. It all goes out. We've been here before. Season before last, Arsenal probably should have won the title. Declan Rice dispossessed Thomas Partey. And we went on, and do you remember? We went on, we scored a goal. And that was it. That was their time. And I remember Arsenal lost against us and they lost against Everton. And it cost them. It killed them. It killed their title hopes. I'm not suggesting there's residual memory for that, but I think I am. I'm feeling. I think we can do something in this game. I think we can do something.
I do think there's a bit of pressure on West Ham to some extent. I will explain in a second. Before we do, we've got 2 quick promos for Hammers Chat, if you don't mind. First of all, we're bringing out a pair of pants. Bringing out some boxers. We've called them Odd Bubbles. The picture will be on your screen now. Have a look. We've done a collaboration with Odd Balls just before Christmas with our hats. They went well, so we're bringing out some boxers and you can pre-order them. They're £13 a pair. All balls are absolutely fantastic. It's my choice of underwear. I never thought I'd ever say that on a video. But I do enjoy a pair of Oddballs boxer shorts. And I think if you've got a pair, you will know they're a really good brand when it comes to underwear market. We're bringing them out. You can pre-order them. If you want them, I would recommend pre-ordering them, because sometimes when we do these things, when they actually arrive, we are sold out. We did it with the jumpers before Christmas. We brought out the quarter zip jumpers. They sold like that. People were messaging saying, "Are you getting more?" We don't know, because it's cash flow. So we've spent all our money we've got on these boxers. So they're not going to be in until July. For clarification, don't order them. Expect them next week. It's not happening. You won't get them until the summer. Links in description below. And second of all, our Patreon. We've been doing our prediction competition winners this week, packaging up signed Cherry Brookins shirts, signed Lucas Paqueta shirts, signed captain's armbands. We've now spent over $1.5 this season on our prediction competition winners, and we've got a big competition this weekend for the Arsenal game. If you are a supporter, you will win a signed captain's armband. There's a lot of them there to choose from. DeCanio, Noble, and Dix. You can take your pick. If you're a Mild Addict subscriber and you win, you will win a signed shirt. And if you're an addict and you win, you will win a match-worn shirt by a West Ham player. You can join Patreon from less than £1 a week. If we are your favourite West Ham YouTube channel, not everyone's. Is this your favourite one?
I'm saying else. I'm doing a mime. You're talking. I'm doing the mimes and pulling silly faces.
I thought you were saying this is your favourite.
When you said about Dix signing the captain's armband, I did have a little chuckle to myself. I think, can we get Dix to sign the boxer shorts?
Oh, I thought I always saw you say, "Mean you're signing captain's armbands." There's your armband signed by Dix.
Shorts, that's for sure.
Yeah, you want your armband signed by Dix? Me and Gonzo will sign it for you. I thought you were saying this was your favourite channel. I was thinking, oh, that's good. I mean, the Forum channel is my third favourite West Ham channel. So
thank you.
But if you fancy supporting the channel, Patreon's the best way. Patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Links in the description below and pinned comments. From £3.60 per month, and that includes VAT. That's the price you pay. There's no secret 20% to be lobbed on top of that. Please consider it. Thank you very much. I think there's a bit of pressure, Gonzo. I think, one win in 6 for Potter, it's not great. And I know there's reasons and excuses, and I think West Ham fans are giving those. And people, It's not like West Ham fans are going in on Potter and the media saying, "Whoa, what are you on about? Back off, Potter," because of all these West Ham fans are doing it. But you're going to need a win eventually. Just 1 win in 7 doesn't sound great. Are you doing? We played Leicester next, and you want to get a win in the next 2 games, I think. But I actually think there's pressure on West Ham because of the board. The board at the minute, there's all this negativity coming out about the season ticket renewals. So the board are waiting. The board need to release their season ticket information, and you can't do it when we're getting beat.
That's true.
You can't. The board need West Ham to win. If we beat Arsenal, don't be surprised that renewal package information comes out Monday morning. Quick, everyone's feeling good. Get it out there. It's what they do. It's what they do. Brady's gone and done an absolute car crash for a podcast. It's riled the fan base up big time. Everyone's now together and against them. I think the board, if we get beat, I don't think it'll be Potter that's in the crosshairs of the fans. I think it will be Karen Brady in the board. But go on, then I dare you to release your season ticket stuff and put the prices up and whatever. So I actually think, weirdly, I think West Ham need a win. I think Karen Brady needs West Ham to win more than Graham Potter needs West Ham to win in a weird way. But that's how I feel at the minute. I think there's a lot of anger directed towards her at the minute because of that podcast she's done. I think a loss would only fuel the flames a little bit. Whereas if we beat Arsenal, we're football fans at the end of the day. Winning games is the thing that brings you most joy. If we beat Arsenal, we'll enjoy it because we'll do the whole, we just cost you the title. That title race, forget it. We've stopped it. We've done it again. We've done it to you before. We've done it to Tottenham before. North London hate us. It's fun. It is fun. And
I may mention it if that happens.
Yeah, and fun's been lacking recently from football at West Ham. You're feeling fruity. I'm feeling optimistic. Can I get any final words plus your all-important score prediction?
Yeah, just on that.
I've got the pad of truth.
I think the pad of truth is going to be inaccurate and a lie today. Just on Karen Brady. Sorry, that sounded wrong. I'm not at all. On the subject of Karen Brady, excellent video, by the way. Particularly the ending made me laugh at the granddad, and you painted a lovely image. This stuff is propaganda, but that is not propaganda for West Ham fans. Karen Brady was not speaking to West Ham fans. She was explaining to everybody else, the rest of the Premier League, other football fans, why the London Stadium is so great. I think there's a lack of awareness, a lack of self-awareness when doing it, of how it will be. I've never been sure of the benefit of trying to appease non-West Ham fans, because I think the damage you do and the anger you create in the West Ham fan base is not worth whatever benefit you might get by virtue signalling to a Middlesbrough fan or whatever it is you're doing. Right?
Well, we'll do a video about this because I can come back to that with the reasons and whatever.
Right. So that's that. Just terribly timed. It's really badly advised. But I don't think it was advised. I don't think Karen Brady takes advice from anyone. I think she thinks, I'm going to do this, and that was that. In terms of the game itself, I shouldn't be. I was miserable after the Brentford game. I don't know why. I'm starting to feel a little bit more positive. I've no idea. I can't give you any reason. There's no evidence, I'm afraid. But I think we're going to do something. And I think, so you get your bit of paper ready. I think we're going to win 1-1.
I did 2-1. I went for 2-1. I thought you were maybe going to go for the away win. I'm feeling optimistic because when I'm putting all my eggs in one basket here, I'm putting full faith in Potter. I expect a reaction. And I think we'll get one. I expect a reaction from him, which is the team lineup. So when the lineup comes out, it's like a couple of players have been dropped, a couple of players are brought in, the formations change, the tactics have changed. I expect us on the training ground this week, working hard to rectify what we did wrong against Brentford. We're always, I don't know why, but it goes back not just under Potter, but after international breaks, we are crap, right? Now, it wasn't an international break, but we had a weekend off. We've come back, we're crap again. It's happened for years at West Ham. I don't know why. There must be an explanation, but we are rubbish whenever there's a gap in between football matches. And I'm expecting the lineup to come out, something's there, but then what you see on the football pitch, I was disappointed by some of the attitude by some of the players on Saturday. Not everyone, but some of them. You said in player ratings that there was a couple of bottle jobs out there. I completely agree. I expect them to be being taken out of the team. And if not, I expect them to turn up with attitude on Saturday. We're going to have to go toe-to-toe with Arsenal in terms of aggression. We're going to have to press them. We're going to have to be fierce. When we played Chelsea, we were those things. We were tough tackling, and it was... We were there for the game, and if there was a little bit of confrontation, the players were backing each other up, going, "Come on, man, we'll have it. Let's have it." Paqueta was one of them against Villa, flying around, putting the tackles in. Saying, "Come on, man, let's have a bit of a scrap by playing football." He's not there, and I think sometimes when the game gets a bit like that, we miss him a little bit. His little naughtiness, if you like, and the way he wins free kicks and winds other team up and stuff. Someone's going to have to grab this game by the scruff of the neck on Saturday, and it's got to be Jared Bowen for me. He was out of the game on Saturday because of Graham Potter's tactics. None of that, please. Get him back in a position where he can impact that game, because if you give him the license, he will do it. And I want to see Ferguson up front as well, because he looked sharp against Brentford. He had that little bit of pace, which surprised me how quick he was over a short space. We're going to be playing counter-attacking football. We showed against Chelsea, we're capable under Potter. We can sit back and we can hit him on the break. So let's see it on Saturday, please, with Bowen, Ferguson, and one other quick direct player in attack as well. Bowen's not rapid, but he runs well. He times his runs well. He runs into the right position. Very rarely is he out of position when you're going forward in a counter attack. So him, Ferguson, someone else doing the same thing. I think we've maybe got a bit of a chance. I'm going to say. What's he saying? What's his prediction?
Woof nil.
Man, I hope he's saying
West Ham.
Yeah, there you go.
I forgot he was under the table. He scared the life out of me.
So there he goes. Zippy's predicting a West Ham win. I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw as well. So there you go. Myself and Gonzo are going for 1-1. Let me know what you think at home by getting involved in the comments below. Let us know the team you want to see. Any big hopes or fears you have at the game, give us your score prediction. But if you enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat, and do go check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Hammers Chat. You might think, oh, I don't need it. There's plenty on YouTube. You take away Patreon, you don't get the videos on YouTube. It's as simple as that. I'll catch you in a bit.